messing with my AC. I noticed a little while ago, let's see if I can get this on camera. This right here is a black light pin, and it kind of, I ran some dye through here so you can kind of see where it is leaking. But if you notice, let's see if I can get a good angle on it, but I don't know if you can see it. It shows up green. If you look real close, you can see some green right there. I can show you more on this, where the dye had squirted in. You can see all the little green, especially like right here. That's from where it spewed out the top of this portion here. But I went through and did some checks, and I noticed that this was leaking right here. And I guess at some point when I installed this, or whoever installed it, it might have been me. It's been so long since I messed with the AC on this car, but it's leaking right here, and that bolt right there does not tighten down. So I'm going to replace this dryer and then clean up all the dye out of all the components where it would potentially come out. And then we're gonna see if we have any more leaks. If we don't, then I'm gonna vacuum the system and then try to get this thing recharged so I can have my AC back. But that's what the game plan is for today. Alright, here's the new dryer that I got from O'Reilly's. It's just a cheap, basic stock one. Nothing special about it. But this is what I'm going to install. I got the dryer out here. Comes on a bracket, which should be another 10 millimeter to separate the canister. But this bolt hole right here is stripped out. I don't know if you can see it on the inside, but it's definitely stripped. Yep. But anyways, I took a secondary line off because it made it a little easier to get out. I'm not going to remove this one because it's attached somewhere. You can see it moving right here. Let's see if I can get in the camera. Yeah, right there. I believe it comes all the way. Somewhere down in there, but I don't want to remove the whole thing of that because it's a lot more work. I got the dryer in. I forgot to kind of explain what I was exactly taking off, but it's kind of self-explanatory. To get the two brackets on, or to get the bolts off of the bracket that holds the dryer in, it's just two bolts, one here, one here. And I like to leave these rubber caps in after you install it, just to keep it from getting contaminated. But what's next is I gotta get this line on, and hopefully this all lines up correctly and I don't have to bend anything, but that's where I'm at. Alright, got the dryer installed, got the AC lines back on. I probably should clean up the dye around the sills just to see if it's leaking anymore by putting some more stop leak, or not stop leak, but UV dye. But what I think I'm going to do just to see is go ahead and vacuum out this system and see if it will hold pressure. If it does not hold pressure, then there is a leak somewhere else, and at that point I need to run more UV dye through so I can figure out where the leak's coming from. If it's not through here, I think it's going to be on the inside where my evaporator port is at, because I replaced that recently, but I kind of just rigged it up, and I'm thinking I might not have. Honestly, I don't think I replaced the O-rings on it. I think that's what I kind of mean by rigging it up. So we'll see what happens. After I got these hoses connected, I always like to make sure all these gauges are in the closed position. You have the low side connected here, the high side connected here. Both of them are off. Got the low side here and the high side here. Both are off. And then this is the vacuum line as well as the fill line, which I never fill through the hose. I always used to use one of those the little aftermarket shelf gauges or whatever that come on the can. It just tends to be quicker and easier. But anyways, the vacuum line connects into your vacuum pump. Every vacuum pump has two ports. I believe this might be for R12 and then this is for R134. Don't hold me to that, I'm not 100%. But what I like to do is turn the pump on first, let it get a nice good vacuum going through. Then I always open up the high side, and then I open up the low side, and then I come up here and open up the high side, which you'll see the needle drop. And then the same thing with this low side. As soon as I open it up, you'll see this needle drop. You can see it going down right now. What you want to do is you want to get it to that negative 30 psi right there and vacuum it out for about 30 minutes. And once you do that, you'll turn the vacuum pump off and come back in about another 15 to 30 minutes and see if the negative 30 has risen back up to zero. If it rises back up to zero, then you have a leak somewhere else in the system. which keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that I don't have any more leaks. So I'll get back in about 30 minutes. You can see it's down at the -30. Now, when I turn this off, keep my fingers crossed that it does not move up immediately, but we're gonna let it sit here for 15 minutes if it doesn't. See how it's moving up? That tells me I have a leak somewhere else. So now I need to go and start chasing the leak. So it has it's still leaking. I'm going to run this UV dye through it, see if I could figure out where exactly it's leaking. So, the way that was kicking off, it's getting way too high of pressure inside of it. So, I'm gonna have to do some research. Look at the passenger side where my evaporator core is at, which is located right here. I checked for leaks through that and did not see any. And the only thing I know to do now is start checking relays and stuff. So that's alright, I got it. I got my AC finally working. It ended up being this relay right here for the condenser fan, which was causing it to get too much high pressure. But I do have cold AC now, thanks to this book. But got a little bit of an idle surge. I'm going to have to leave the system a little better, but that'll be the end of this one. I will catch you on.